How's everybody doing here? Dom Tiberi joined by Dave Holmes and Adam King. All right, fellas. So the Buckeyes get a bye week after that emotional win over Notre Dame. And Dave, I think that was, how many times have you seen a team have a letdown after an emotional win? I don't think it'll happen this week against Maryland. They've had 2 weeks before they played a game.
Yeah, I think it's good so you don't have that Notre Dame letdown off that big win. I think it's good to let Marvin Harrison Jr. heal up for an extra week. Not ideal because now you go 8 in a row in the Big Ten. I think ideally you'd rather have that bye in week 6 or 7, but given the timing off the Notre Dame win, I think it's probably pretty good.
Adam, the big talk coming out of that game was Ryan Day calling out Lou Holtz, and really, he kind of admitted today he didn't want to get into it, but we all got the feeling it was more than just Lou Holtz. Is this whole thing buried now as far as coach it is because he didn't want to touch it?
I don't think Lou Holtz is done with it. I mean, he's dropping him in the polls. He's still having fun with it. Ryan Day didn't want to talk about it today, clearly. I thought he kind of circled back and made a good point there at the end where, sometimes you got to stand up for your guys, and that's how he felt. And he said you bite your tongue a lot of the time, but he felt that was the right time. I think that's about as far as Ryan Day is going to get emotional, probably for the rest of the season. They win that game up in Ann Arbor at the end of the year. That post-game presser will be one that a lot of people would want.
Yeah, I'll want to see that. Dave, one last thing on Lou Holtz, and you know him. You worked with him. He's a friend of yours. Yeah. With that said, he was a mentor to Urban Meyer. Yeah. And, he's in his 80s. God bless him. But he seems pretty alert to me, and I think he knows what he's doing. And, I think it's funny that some people from Ohio State are saying, wait, this is a Buckeye. He was here for a cup of coffee with Woody Hayes. He was here 1 year, so let's end that. This guy is more of an Arkansas coach than he is a Buckeye coach. He's going to be remembered as the Notre Dame coach. Of course, he went to South Carolina after that. As I said, Lou. Yeah. He seems pretty sharp to me, and he knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah, so I know him because I worked with him at ESPN when I was an anchor there. We were both Kent State Golden Flashes, so we talked a lot about that as well. I always liked Lou Holtz, but he's a character, and I think what he's doing here is some character work. I mean, I think he's an entertainer. He's not.
But the fact that he's 80, I'm sorry.
No, he knows what he's saying.
Quit doing it.
He knows what he's saying.
Quit doing it if you don't want to get it back.
No, he's with it. He's still with it. So I think he knows what he's doing. I think he was trying to get his Notre Dame folks fired up. And now, once you dig the hole, you're already pretty deep. What's one more shovel, right? Like, I'm already down here.
Yeah.
I think he's just, what's he going to do? Say, oh, gee, I'm so sorry that I said. He's not going to do that. So you just let it happen.
Is that Elmer Fudd? Was that
my Elmer Fudd and Lou Holtz do a lot of crossover.
Very similar.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Ohio State, 18-point favorites over Maryland. This is a game that, and I'm going to use the word that drives you crazy. Okay. But to me, this is a booby trap game from the standpoint.
Yeah. There it is.
Here we go, Buckeye Nation. Oh, it's going to be, a walk in the park for Ohio State. Maryland's no good. It's Maryland. Maryland's better than you think, folks.
If this is a booby trap game, then every game's a booby trap game.
That's true.
They should be ranked in the top 25. They're ranked 26. They are
Did you see what they did to Indiana the other day? Did you see?
That's my point. It can't be a booby trap if they're out there pointing a sign that says, we are good.
Buckeye Nation says it's a walk in the park. I'm telling the players, blinders on and don't listen to those people.
I think the players are exclusively listening to Lou Holtz at all times. That's the only one.
Yes,
no, of course Maryland's good. Their quarterback's phenomenal. This game in the shoe. I don't think anybody thought it was going to be 2 undefeated teams walking in and 2 teams that arguably should be top 25. But it's going to be a good game. I think 18 feels right on the number. I feel like it's going to be a fourth quarter game that the Buckeyes kind of pull away, and that's a good thing. That's good college football, and it's a learning experience.
Well, Vegas knows what they're doing, Dave. They're trying to get even betting on both sides of the line, so forget all that stuff. With that said, though, as I watched what they did to Indiana, they certainly passed the look test, and that's the only common opponent we can go by. And I understand that was Ohio State's first game. And I understand they had a rookie quarterback making his first start and all that business, but they beat them. They've beaten everyone. They haven't played anyone, but they've beaten everyone like they should.
Well, here's what would happen. What would it look like if Ohio State looked past Maryland? Probably like last year when Ohio State looked past Maryland. Yes. It was the next to last game of the year. They went to College Park, and they almost lost in Maryland because Michigan was on the horizon. This year's Maryland team is better than last year's Maryland team. So if last year's Maryland team was good enough to get within 1 score in the final possession, this year's team is that good, if not better. Now, this one's in the shoe, different scenario. I still think Ohio State wins. I don't think it comes down to a field goal or anything. But yeah, there's a little bit of a scare factor here. It's not a 9 on a scale from 1 to 10, but it's a 5 or 6. It's moderately scary.
Last thing, any worries about Marvin? I mean, Ryan kind of blew it off.
Yeah,
we saw him catching balls the other day, so that's no. All right, what's your score?
I'd say Ohio State 42-24. I think they win it, but I don't think it's a runaway.
I'm going to buy in for the first time this year to that Buckeye defense. I mean, I believed in them, but score-wise, I think this game, they hold Maryland to 17, maybe 14, so I'll lock in 17, and I think the Buckeye offense shows up, so I'll ride the 42-17.
Okay.
I'm going 52.
There we go.
All right.
To -6.
21.
Okay.
All right.
So we all think Talia Tagovailoa is going to move the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, can we all agree he's going to play on Sunday like his brother?
Yeah, he's good. He's a good
Let
player.
me ask you that before we go. Who's better, Sam Hartman or Tagovailoa?
This is the better. This is the best passing team they will have played, in my opinion.
I think Hartman's better, and they handled him well.
Well, I think this is a better passing team. This team lives by the pass.
I think this team has more maybe offensive upside, but I think Hartman's more of a rock.
Well, this team is better than Western Kentucky, and that was the gauge everyone was worried about because they're going to come. I think this team, but Tagovailoa, this kid Talia, will run. Will run if he has to.
Yeah, he can do it all.
But
he's got a sign that says that. Will run.
He will run. All right. Dave Holmes, Adam King, Dom Tiberi. Keep it on 10tv.com and 10TV.